Alright, hello. So today we're going to be doing a VOD review on Faker. Okay. Um, I think the last review I did on a professional player was a few weeks ago. I think it was on Faker too. Don't quite remember. Um, but we can go ahead and get into it. So before I start this video, I want to let everyone know that I'm not trying to inspire you to play Leblanc if you're gold, platinum, low diamond, or even high diamond, honestly. The reason for this is because you cannot control the champion properly, right? Um, I guess like after D2 it becomes a little bit nicer that you could pick up LeBlanc, but the reason it's not the point. The reason I'm making this video is to basically explain some core defining aspects of what the lane is about and what you as a mid laner want to actually be thinking about when you're one trying to improve and two actually playing out the lane. Okay, so the first thing is obviously matchup. Its matchup is huge, right? Um, now we see it's Rise versus LeBlanc. Okay, we can already decipher a number of things. We know that LeBlanc has higher damage, right? LeBlanc wins in shorter trades. Rise wins in extended trades if a trade does go down. Because of the lower cooldowns, we know that LeBlanc and Elise have very high kill potential onto Rise. Rise is jungler is Kha'Zix, so that's it's also we I think we win the 2v2, so that's really good. We also know that Rise has better wave clear than us, right? So we should be acknowledging that as well. Now, Rise walks in like this, and Faker goes ahead and throws E. Now, the reason Faker starts E is because Rise actually enters the lane through an open angle. Now, this is you can only do this if Rise walks into lane like this. Now, if Rise basically decided to walk into lane like this or approach the lane like in any of these three angles, then you can't actually start E because of the minions, which should be relatively obvious to anyone watching this, right? But Faker is trying to actually go ahead, drop the E down. He knows that he can't reciprocate damage from these minions while simultaneously winning the trade, backing up, and putting him on cooldown. Because he's going to try to damage him back, but can't because Faker has a range advantage in this case because of E range, right? Now, Faker actually goes ahead, misses the E. Rise realizes this, walks up, realizes this is pointless, walks back. As you can see, the aggressive movement, Faker also walks back simultaneously. Okay, we know that the enemy jungler started on, our jungler started on the top side. We're now basically at this point, this is a very crucial time in the lane. We're basically looking at our side lanes as much as possible to decipher where the enemy Kha'Zix started. Now, I can give you some general tips on where you can decipher where the enemy jungler started. Say bot lane actually faked a leash. Now, let's say bot lane fakes a leash and Rise sets to play on the left-hand side pocket. Well, then we can assume that the jungler is on the left-hand side because Rise is actually favoring that side of the map, right? Obviously, we have to entertain wards, and then even potential baits, but you don't have to worry about that in like lower elos. This is once again Korean Challenger, so it is a different game. It's a lot different than say like a platinum game or a diamond game or a master game. So we're gonna go ahead and start now that we've gotten all that fun stuff out of the way. So immediately the lane is opened up in a relatively standard point, and the reason Faker actually goes ahead and F keys over to the top lane is because we know that now Kha'Zix started bot side, so we know that Kha'Zix's next routes are going to be something like this, right? Whatever path he takes is going to be on the left hand side. By the time that the game timer is around 2:45, 3 minutes, so thus we should be playing on the right hand side pocket because that's the closest pocket in proximity to our jungler. Okay, so we're gonna keep going, and we're going to see what happens. Rises movements. This movements are way too aggressive. Doesn't do anything for him. Now, this is really bad. And the reason this is bad is because Rise should understand he has the wave clear advantage. When you have the wave clear advantage, you have more more minions than the enemy, meaning that you'll get level 2 quicker, right? So why do you want to waste cooldowns when you can just abuse the level 2 and then zone? I don't understand that. And once again, like, he throws out the W here. Faker meets with an E. And it seems as though nothing really happens. Now, yes, Rise won the trade. It's very minuscule. He won the trade, but I'll explain why it's bad. Look how this minion is here. Rise is about to kill it. So this goes down and he's level 2. Why is he all the way back here? Why don't we just actually walk up to LeBlanc over here or over here and then basically try zoning her from these caster minions, even though this wouldn't actually do anything. And then basically safely farm, right? And then just threaten a level 2 gank. Not a gank, Jesus, a level 2 trade, right? Now, Faker obviously would back up, but if you are playing in lower MMRs, then LeBlanc may not back up, and you can actually get a decent trade off, which is really good for you. And then you can basically, shove the wave into her. Now, the reason Rise doesn't want to shove the wave immediately is because if we look at the second wave, or I believe this is the third wave, that's coming it's coming from the fountain, right? If Rise shoves this wave in, then what ends up happening is the lane just simply resets, right? However, if Rise slowly waits and then shoves the wave in, not immediately, and then as the wave crashes, the lane actually meets over here, thus actually having the fourth wave and fifth wave actually bounce back into Rise, which is really good for him, right? Additionally, Rise is using this ample opportunity to not hard shove, but to build up a slow push. And the reason he wants to do this is because the more minions that Rise has on his side of the lane, the less chances of Faker actually going onto him, despite him using abilities on the minions. Now, even if Faker decides to trade, it would be really bad. And the reason for that is because if Rise builds up a minion wave to try and attempt to crash into Faker's tower, then the minion HP will become really awkward, and thus Faker won't be able to properly farm under the tower when the wave does crash, right? But at this point, you have to give up the fact that you're ever going to shove Rise in. That's not possible, right? So at this point, we're just gonna see him shove the wave into Faker. Okay. We know Kha'Zix is left side now. One thing you can do is if you don't know generally what time the enemy jungler is on that side of the map, just look at your own jungler, right? So Elise is here, Kha'Zix is probably somewhere here, right? And then while you're playing mid lane, you should be pinging. If your jungler doesn't ping your top laner. Or if you're just a solo queue player, I mean, this is Korean Challenger, so they actually relatively are on the same page. But you should definitely ping the jungler, his location, and then ping top lane. And then top lane will know that, hey, okay, the jungler's on the side. I got to be a little more careful, because if your top lane dies, yes, it's not actually your fault, but it could have been prevented if you had just decided to inform your top laner that a jungle gank is coming. Okay. Now already we see that, once again, as I talked about, Faker will never go on to Rise. Rise knows that Faker will never engage onto him, and the reason for this, if he does, these minions become bad, and then Faker can't farm under tower. Okay? Rise at this point will just crash the wave and then leave the lane. He's not going to look to fight Faker. Right? One thing he could have done is he could have autoed Faker a few times here, but I guess he doesn't. I don't know what he's doing. But even then, you can't assume that Faker's going to ignore all the minions, because that would just be really bad. Right? So here. Now, as Faker knows that this is happening, Faker already knows that the lane is actually very advantageous for Rise, and it will be in the next few seconds. So he's going to simply try to make his life as hard as possible by not just actually hard shoving him in, but slow pushing the lane into him, and then getting the recall off from the next incoming minion wave, which is the cannon wave. Okay? The reason you want to actually base on cannon waves is because it takes your tower to kill the enemy cannon wave a lot slower, thus allowing you to actually get XP, while simultaneously allowing the enemy to not immediately kill the cannon, thus letting you actually have ample time to walk back into the lane and not miss too much XP. Now, we know a number of things, okay? Hold on. We know that Kha'Zix is on the top-hand side. Now, yeah, this is exactly what I was about to say. Basically, Faker knows that Kha'Zix's routes were like this, okay? I don't know what he did exactly, but he went like this, okay? Now, the fact that Elise shows bot lane for this dive that I actually can't show you guys because I can't actually juggle on top of it, not to mention YouTube thing is covering it, we can easily assume Kha'Zix's next routes is going to be like this, into the jungle, because he knows that Elise's bot lane. He knows that Elise's CS, depending on Elise's CS, he knows that Elise can't just clear Raptors. It's not actually a really good camp for her to take. So he can easily go ahead and score this camp away, and thus we as a mid laner are actually protecting our Raptors. And this is something you need to actually start doing as a mid laner. Protect your Raptors while simultaneously attempting to take the enemy's Raptors as much as possible. What this does is it actually puts your jungler, it gives your jungler intel because you're warding, and it puts the enemy jungler behind. Now, immediately, this is the breaking point of the lane. And the reason this is the breaking point of the lane, had Ryze just stayed in the lane, waited for the minions to come into him, and then just kind of frozen by the time that Faker, because this wave's going to build up, and just kind of just thinned the wave, and then kind of just kept the wave here frozen, and then farmed that until tier, and then slow push, and then immediately shove the wave in to get the tier recall, then everything would have been great. However, what happens now is he's lost tempo. Right, you can see it in fucking Faker's face. He's like, oh yeah, I won this. So Faker basically, He's gonna crash the wave. Okay, Rise is now forced to answer to this wave. Faker gets the recall, the superior recall off, right? And now he comes back, and now the wave basically shoves into him. And now once the wave is being played over here, Faker has level 6 advantage, depending on how quickly the minions are actually, depending on how quickly the lane is being played, with respects to experience. So once again, Rise is now in a hurry to go ahead and Faker. Now, one thing you can actually do is actually don't do this. Now, I was gonna recommend recalling here and then having him go for the minions, having him go for you, which would make him lose minions. But don't do that. That's actually a bad idea because then you're gonna actually lose momentum in the lane. So scratch that. So now we're gonna go ahead and get the recall off. We know Kha'Zix's routes. Faker actually tabbed to see Kha'Zix's CS. We saw 24 CS on Kha'Zix. All right, we can quickly go back and we can look at that one more time. I saw it, but I don't think everyone else was able to quickly get note of it. I think he tabbed like somewhere here. I'm not sure when he tabbed. He tabbed and he saw 24 CS, and what that basically means is Kha'Zix right here, 24 CS. So Kha'Zix went ahead and cleared his entire jungle. So his topside camps are gone, which means that his only clear route is into Elise's jungle because he knows that Elise is not going to be there in time, right? So then immediately Faker recalls. Kha'Zix takes Elise's camps. We've already seen that. Whatever, it's okay. And now the lane is pushing into Faker, right? Which is great. Now, you don't want to actually ward here, and the reason for this is because you want people to protect. Now, a lot of players, especially in lower elos, they decide to pink ward. You can't pink ward this if the lane is pushing into you. Unless your jungler is in close proximity to you, in which case you can bait the ward, because then what ends up happening, I'm going to use top as an example because I can't actually see the bot lane right now, but let's say you place the ward here, your jungler is on the top hand side of the map, Rise acknowledges the fact that he can actually go ahead and kill the ward while the wave shoves into you. You actually have the lane here. You can actually go ahead and, this is a bait ward basically, and the jungler comes in and kills Rise, right, along with you because you have superior setup, as we mentioned in the beginning of the game. Okay? And once again, as we talked about, the lane's in a really advantageous spot for Faker, and Rise is just looking to hard shove the lane in, but Faker does have tempo in the lane, right? Faker does have momentum, and now he's just going to go ahead and farm the lane. He can never freeze this, which should be obvious. It's too many minions. He's going to die if he does it. Oh, not die, but he'll take a ton of HP. It's a really stupid idea. Now here, he's just going to go ahead and keep farming. Now we know Kha'Zix's next clear routes are on the right-hand side, okay? We know his raptors have spawned. We know that his Krugs, golems, I don't know what you call them, have also spawned, the rocks, okay? And now immediately here, we know that Rise wants to come and farm the lane. But this is like step one over again, where we're basically slow shoving the lane into Rise again, and then basically we can actually go ahead and build up a minion wave and then find roams off of that, because now Rise would want to farm the lane. This ward is really good. The reason this ward is really good is because we know Kha'Zix's next clear outs are right side. We know that we can spot Kha'Zix coming into the jungle here, and this basically protects our bot lane because we know bot lane's pushing in. And even if bot lane wasn't pushing in, even if bot lane was coming in towards us and our bot lane is relatively safe, knowing that the jungler has right side initiative, we still place the ward here because it's just simple intel, okay? And if you look closely, Faker has a he clicks really fast and he moves really quickly, and this is something you should always try to replicate in your own games. One thing I highly recommend is start watching Faker's mouse movements and then start comparing them to your own mouse movements, and I can guarantee you that you will improve in some way, okay? So once again, here it's just a slow push, right? And here we get level 6, so immediately we were talking about how Rise didn't actually abuse his level 2 spike onto Faker. However, Faker is actually abusing his level 6 spike, and we discussed before that because of how the lane was being played and how tempo was being basically thrown over to Faker because of Rise's poor management and judgment skills in the lane. Faker's in a really nice spot where the lane's in a really soft spot for him to hit level 6 and just kill Rise. Rise can't shove this. He's missing XP, he's missing experience, and now he's in a shit ton of pressure, right? And now Kha'Zix isn't going to help him because Kha'Zix has no liberty to go bot lane because Kha'Zix should know that Elise is bot lane right now, and that would be a mistake to gank, right? And here, now I wonder why he doesn't go in immediately. Maybe, okay, I guess he loses mana if he does. I don't know. I guess he does lose mana if he does. But we'll see. Or maybe he's just waiting for him to throw out a spell or something. Oh, okay, so he was just trying to be... I don't know. I actually don't know why he just doesn't immediately go in. Okay, so here, he's level 5. Wait for the shield to go down. Minions are, it combos down because the minions are looking like this, and immediately jump him, right? Just go ahead and chunk him here, and we see Elise noticing this, right? Now the reason Faker actually goes ahead and does this, despite the mana disadvantage, is because his jungler is here, right? But unfortunately, can't find anything. She misses Q, or she misses her cocoon, which is okay. Unlucky. And now we're just gonna walk with our jungler, make sure she's securing the crab. I'm not really sure what he's doing here. I guess he knows Kha'Zix is, yeah. So okay, so he's waiting for the plant. Okay. Now the reason he can't recall here is because it's not a cannon wave, right? So instead of actually just recalling for the mana that he did need, he goes ahead and tracks the plant. And this is something you always want to be doing as a laner, even in top lane, even in bot lane. Always look at the plants, right? Now, there's a number of examples for these, right? Now, one example for is like, hey, say your bot lane on your blue side, for example. And when I say blue side, I actually mean red side, okay? Like, because you're over here. This is your team. Now, what ends up happening is you actually should acknowledge that there could be immediate jungle ganks coming in like this, using the blast plant. So as a support, or even as an AD carry, you can easily walk over here, drop a ward, and take out this blast plant to avoid a gank like this happening onto your team, right? Likewise, you should always be cognizant of where the plants are spawning and how, like, you already know where they're going to spawn, but you want to be knowing when they spawn. Therefore, you can actually win trades. You can actually just win, like, smaller advantages, right? It's free HP, it's free mana, which is really big. Okay. And here we know Kha'Zix is top side, I think. Yeah, top side. At least dies, unlucky. And Faker just goes ahead and shoves the wave. Great, okay. This is happening. Kha'Zix shows bot side, actually, okay. Maybe I'm not tracking him properly. But anyways, the idea is still there. The concept is there. Track the jungler. Make sure you know where he is. Protect your camps, okay? As we go on, we move forward. We see that Faker is once again playing the lane out relatively nicely, right? And one thing you really have to start doing is you have to make sure that you're not missing last hits, right? Like, you see this guy, 69. Jesus, what the fuck is that? Okay, anyways. You see, what the hell was that? Okay, so you see Faker CS, 72 CS, okay? At 8 minutes. It's really good. You need to be making sure CS is kind of like fundamental. And seems like this happens. You walk up, and then you should realize that this is actually, there's still potential for this, right? There's still potential for this, and yep, this is fine. This is a kill, I think, right? Yeah, this is okay. Now, I've seen a lot of low elo players, they give up. Or not, sorry, they don't give up. They don't give up when a gank is impossible. What Faker just did is completely fine. Like, this was possible, despite him losing a potential wave. It's not so bad, right? Anyways, I'm just going to go over the lane phase. I'm not going to talk about anything else, and the reason for this is because the mid-game, there's no reason to. I'll do a video eventually on the generics of what you want to be doing towards the mid-game, even though it's not really that important. I've actually have been getting a lot of publicity lately because of I believe LS actually went ahead and was analyzing one of my videos, and he did recommend basically talking about mostly the lane phase, and I kind of thought about that, and to a degree he is right. Lane phase is everything, right? So I will make a video eventually. It's not like I'm not going to ever do it. I'm going to make a video maybe next time on like what you generally want to be thinking of, not actually do, but thinking of, right? When you do want to be playing after the lane phase. Because despite there being set rules, there also has to be some kind of fluidity as to how you move on the map. Because situations obviously change. The game is very dynamic, right? So anyways, that's about it for now. Okay, so if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to, let me know. And yeah, great.